Port City coming right back at you guys. Glad for you guys to come on in and stop on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button today. We got my brother Mo, the Syndicate. We here live. We're going to talk about how we became human and the 7 million year evolution of Homo sapiens. We're going to talk about the history of the science behind evolution, and then we're going to further talk about where we are today. So welcome, Mo. What's up, brother? You doing all right?
Peace, peace, man. Ready to get to
it. If you guys are new to the channel, real quick, Mo, before you get started, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit the like, become a member. Make sure you guys subscribe. Follow my brother Mo. He's on YouTube as well, and he's on TikTok. We all meet on the Syndicate with my brother X. Make sure you follow on all of us. Stay tuned. Stay connected, because we keep moving this information forward, and we don't want you guys to miss anything that we're doing. But go ahead, Mo. I ain't gonna interrupt you no further.
Yeah, we pretty much about to go over the basics. Get into how we became human. Get into some of these definitions that people are not using, and actually some people are using them and just don't understand what the hell they're talking about. So let me get this loaded up real quick.
Bet. Let me know. Everybody hit that like, man. Participate in the comment section. I see y'all out there. Y'all late.
How we late?
Oh shit. We late.
On time, man.
Even when we're late on time, Good afternoon to everybody, y'all.
Hold on real quick. Let me.
Chris said we were 5 minutes late 5 minutes ago. No, but thank y'all for coming. We appreciate it. Make sure y'all hit the like. We're gonna we can't pack everything in. Another thing too, evolution and the story of the human journey is a really long, drawn out thing. It's just, you can't get that down in one episode. So this is just a tip, like we like to say. This is just a tip. Make sure you guys, that's the double echo. You hear the echo?
Yeah, that's me. I got
different pieces of it, of the information, because you can't just break all this stuff down. This is just a rough summary of the lineage and the history behind science. Whenever you're ready, Mo. Share your screen, brother?
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm gonna hang out. I'll show the screen.
We'll be on the sources first. All right, we up? Because I can't see it.
Yeah, we are up. Can everybody see that out in YouTube land? Make sure y'all give me a comment if y'all can see what I'm seeing up here. Mo got his slides ready to go.
It should be all these sources, right? These books.
See it.
All right, there y'all go. So y'all can take a screenshot of this, because I can't put the links up yet because they connected to my hard drive. When I open all this up, it creates a pathway to my hard drive. So the next time I'll separate it when we do the next part of this. So y'all can screenshot this real quick. This is like 9 or 10 of the sources. The other ones are going to be in each slide. So let me go ahead and blow this up.
Pause.
Oh, did he? And I should be able to go down. Okay, so this is Becoming a Human Species, a fundamental overview. We're just going to get familiar with some terms that we see people using all the time, but we're going to actually get into what the hell these words mean. We all use words on a day-to-day basis and don't really take time to look up the words that we're using, and then over time the shit gets conflated or convoluted or both, right? So this right here is basically the diagrams that you see, whether it's plants, animals, fungus, or whatever. You see these diagrams of, we even see them with haplogroups, where they have these different starting points and then they branch off into other things. And this is the phylogeny or phylogeny reconstruction. This is taking place with all life forms, right? This is why it's important to separate these things and put them into different categories so you can study them individually and then see how they relate to each other, right? Excuse me. So it says aims of phylogeny reconstruction. A phylogeny is the evolutionary history of a group of entities. Given that this can only truly be known in exceptional circumstances, the main aim of phylogeny reconstruction is to describe evolutionary relationships in terms of relative recency of ancestry. These relationships are represented as a branching diagram or tree with branches joined by nodes and leading to terminals at the tips of the tree. And figure one is what you see right in the middle next to the millions of years ago chart. That would be the one they're using for plants. But the millions of years ago chart is one I got from Britannica, which is the same type of concept. It's showing starting points of different hominids or hominids, whichever one you want to use, and how these things later become what we call the hominins, are ancestors as they branched off from each other and adapted to their own areas. Okay. And for those that didn't hear that, there's audio attached to this that just played. It says, "What is taxonomy? The scientific." Oh shoot! Hold on, I was skipping over. What is taxonomy? The scientific process of classifying things, arranging them into groups. You see the different kingdoms on here, right? Got the animals, the fungi, plants, and all of that. All right. So this right now has nothing to do with race, but as we keep on going through this, I'm going to show you when people started using race and religion, uh, it started, messing things up, and they slipped up and stagnated themselves. And until these things were corrected, we weren't able to move forward with what Port is about to show y'all later. So let's go through a couple more definitions, and then let's go into their mistakes that they were making as they were transitioning into understanding what we now know today. All right, species and the ability to reproduce. A species is a group of individual organisms that interbreed and produce fertile, viable offspring. According to this definition, one species is distinguished from another when, in nature, it is not possible for mating between individuals from each species to produce fertile offspring. Okay, so this is the criteria that is being used to determine whether something is the same species or a different species, or something that's in between where they can mate with each other, but when they produce the offspring, it's not fertile. So technically, it's not officially stamped as the same species, right? Okay. So there's a gray area with that, and this is just discipline. This is just using discipline. This doesn't have anything to do with race or religion until you add it and it becomes pseudo. So when we're getting up to that. Now, Darwin is the guy that they say said we came from monkeys. We hear this all the time, where they say, hey, just, look at Darwin's work. He said that we came from monkeys. If you listen to Darwin, or you believe in the out of Africa theory, and you believe in Darwin, they think like they both go together. Even though he felt that there was something to investigate with Africa, and that there was a connection between us and the other apes, he didn't fully establish it yet because he was disciplined enough not to do that. And there was a lot going on in the academic field with creationism at the time. So even I think it would have took him time to kind of lay that all out in the first place, even if he was thinking some of the things we're thinking today. But he did what he could do in his time. So we want to see what he has to say. I want to skim a little bit. He's going into species, and there's one part in here that's very important, and I want to keep brevity in mind while I'm doing it. Those who do not admit to the principle of evolution must look at species as separate creations, or in some manner as distinct entities, and they must decide what forms of man they will consider as species by the analogy of the method commonly pursued in ranking other organic beings as species. But it is a hopeless endeavor to decide this point until some definition of the term species is generally accepted. That's the definition that we now have today. At this time, you can see by what he's stating, he said, but it is hopeless endeavor to decide this point until some definition of the term species is generally accepted. So there wasn't a wide consensus yet. This is the developing stages. And most people think, dealing with this type of information that we're dealing with today, we're all coming out of pseudo, we're all coming out of religion. We're Black people across the water living in another place where the people dominated the education system for a long time, and we're coming in not trusting these people. It's understandable. But when we look at this information now, and we see what happened throughout history, what was going on, what did Darwin say? What did his peers say? He's talking against people who are pseudo. He's going against the pseudo beliefs, and there's people who are pushing back on him, and he didn't get rid of it. That's the thing people are not understanding. When it came to the point where they was like, okay, we need to acknowledge what he's saying. We need to define that term species and make sure this is accepted by everybody so we can move forward. It happened once they could not move any further. This is what happens with everything. Once you cannot move any further, that you are clearly doing something wrong in your investigations. That's when people started making these changes. And we're going to get into some of these mistakes that they were making. But let me see, is that it? And the definition, okay, this is the other part. And the definition must not include an interdeterminate element, such as an act of creation. See, so we need to determine and establish this species word and make a consensus out of it, make sure it's accepted. And the definition must not include an interdeterminate element, such as the act of creation. And we're about to get into the dangers of this shit right here. Well, it's going to be after this one. I want to run over this real quick, but keep in mind what Darwin said while I go through this, because they're both relative. And I'm trying to make this easy because it's complex, but so we got to keep certain things in the back of our mind while we are dealing with other things. All right. So it says, like the game of 20 questions, the Linnaean system began sorting everything into 3 categories: animal, vegetable, and mineral. Actually, this is it. You don't have to keep that in mind. This is actually all interconnected. All right, so this guy, Linnaeus, who this system is named after. So we're going to shuffle around a little bit so I'm going to help us get all the way through this. Right? This system right here. Wait, let me go back. Did I put it on here? My bad. I don't even think I put the shit on here. But anyway, we'll just use this one because it's the same thing. So this is the Linnaean taxonomic system, human classification. We got the domain, the kingdom, the phylum, class, order, family, tribe, genus, and then species. All right. And we'll come back to that later to make some other points. But I wanted you to see that real quick because it derives from this guy here. But he was partially pseudo. Plot twist. This guy was a pseudo, right? Let's check out what he says. He says, okay, so he creates those 3 categories. Those 3 categories he has to later expand, and other people, when he passed away, had to expand that. So don't think that he just created that whole system that I just showed you, okay? That system was updated over time by him before he passed away, and then by people who came after him. Because like I said, after things cannot progress anymore, you're clearly doing something wrong in your research, okay? And as they ran into those roadblocks, they had to start expanding things. And let's see, right here it says, for Linnaeus, the system was not a game or a mere key for identifying species. His kingdoms, classes, orders, and so on were conceived as real entities, natural kinds established by the creator at the beginning of time. Now, how the hell does that make any damn sense? But he's going to keep running into problems as he's doing this, and he's going to have to revise it, right? It says Linnaeus strove to define each taxon in terms of the essential properties that made that grouping a truly natural one, and he continually revised his system to try to make his groupings more natural. See? So even as he was doing this, thinking, okay, God must have did this. Okay, well, God must have did that. It's not working because he keeps on inserting that. And this is why Darwin said back here, what did he say? He said, but it is a hopeless endeavor to decide this point until some definition of the term species is generally accepted, and the definition must not include an interdeterminate element such as an act of creation. Why? Because it's going to lead you to start thinking about, okay, why did God do this? And why did God do that? And why? That's not what we're doing here. We're reconstructing. We're not backwards engineering. Backwards engineering is for something that something created, right? And then or reconstructing, or phylogeny reconstruction, for example, or what's the other one? Paleoanthropological reconstruction is just dealing with what we experienced in nature. There doesn't necessarily need to be a creator involved in it unless we find one. That's just how it works. So we got to keep the biases aside and just focus on the facts we can establish. And the last part of this source right here is one of the more controversial elements of Linnaeus's system was his treatment. And we're down in the yellow for those that I don't think y'all can see my mouse when I have this screen on full screen. I don't see my mouse moving on my phone. All right. So one of the more controversial elements of Linnaeus's system was his treatment of human beings. Instead of setting humans up as a kingdom, class, or order of their own, as a token of their unique relationship with God, Linnaeus decided on anatomical grounds to classify man as a mere genus, Homo, within the same order of mammals as apes, monkeys, and lemurs. The only sign of humanity's special status. I can't see the rest because it's cut off on there. It says special. Damn. The only sign of humanity's special status was the name that Linnaeus gave to this order. The primates means I can't make out the rest of that, y'all.
Yeah, the primates meaning chief or
honchos. I remember that part.
Yeah.
Chief or honchos. Basically, this is them starting to understand that we're not as special as we think we are. To put it, I know that sounds weird, but these motherfuckers were thinking we were too special. We still special, y'all, but not like that. Ain't nobody come down here and just place their hand in the dirt, spit on it, and then make us and shit. Like we ain't that serious. So here goes primate. So again, we're at the point where people are pseudo, but they're also seeing the truth. The people who don't accept the truth, they're going to wander off and start doing stupid shit, which we're going to see in a little bit. And then on part two, I'm going to go deeper into these mistakes that they make. But right now, we're going to do primate, any member of the group of animals that includes human beings, apes, and monkeys. That's just the category. It doesn't mean you evolved from the ape. It doesn't mean you evolved from the monkey. It doesn't mean you evolved from the chimpanzee. It just means that you fit the criteria to be in the category primate. It's really that simple. It's not that complicated. Okay, I don't know if y'all heard that, so I'm gonna read it again. It says, what is a hominid? Let me go back. What is a hominid? A hominid is any member of the family that includes modern humans and great apes. And even here in this definition, which they have from the University Advanced Learners Dictionary, Oxford University, 2003. That's incredible because they're still doing this. And I'm glad I caught this because it says, this shows you that they're still trying to transition into this truth. All right. Any member of the family that includes modern humans and great apes. Humans are great apes. You see? So this here is a term. So because it has been considered for so long that these great apes or apes themselves are just separate from humans and we're not in that group, that they still put this in there so that people are not confused. But the experts know that modern humans are great apes, but they still type modern humans and great apes when it should be and or just great apes, and then put in parentheses modern humans included, but as well as earlier creatures that no longer exist from which modern humans evolved or developed. All right. Now, a hominin. What is a hominin? A hominin, this is different from the hominid. Hominid, it has a broader umbrella that can cover multiple species, right? But the hominin, or not just multiple species, but species and the branches of species that come off from it. But what is a hominin? A hominin is a member of the tribe hominini. Hold on, let me go back. Hominini, which includes modern humans and their extinct ancestral species. So this one will be more specific to what attaches us to the lineage. It's the lineage that goes back to the people who are no longer living, but these will be our ancestors connected to our species. So it's not as broad, it's more linear, right? Now here is the Linnaeus system, and a breakdown of its history, right? It's the history and contribution of the Linnaeus system. So the initial structure was made by him, which I saw earlier. He had three groups. It was created by Linnaeus in 1735. It was maintained, but even he expanded it in his time. Okay. He had three kingdoms. Linnaeus, of course, established this. Though that part was discarded, new kingdoms were added: fungi, protista, etc., and more, right? Essence of categories: fixed, divine, natural kind. So he thought it was fixed. He didn't necessarily have the full evolutionary understanding at that time, and he was still going into some type of religious type of approach because it was a divine creation that he felt it was. You know, he was kind of accepting evolution, but he still thought God did it, and there was like different ages where we changed and became other things or whatever. So he still was adding that God element to it. This is modern biology sees species as evolving, coming after they realize, like I said, once you run into a block and you can't figure out anything, you can't just keep inserting God. We need answers. So they had to update it. Modern biology sees species as evolving. They had to just accept it. Placement of humans. Place humans and primates with apes, monkeys, and more. This is refined by Darwin, Huxley, and evolutionary biology. The scientific method based on anatomical traits. That's where he started at, but later on they incorporated genetics, as we know it today, how much of a breakthrough that was, evolution and molecular biology, right? So they're still building on it. This is how you know that the corrections they made up here, maintained but explained, discarded, new kingdoms added, modern biology sees species as evolving, Darwin refines, Huxley refines, evolutionary biology refines, incorporated genetics, evolution, molecular biology. These things are working. And the proof is that you're able to develop more things. That means your methodology is working, while the other people who are stuck in pseudo, even till this day, are still just making claims that you have to believe. Ain't that some shit? Major modifications. They moved whales into mammals. In later editions, new domains added: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Okay. Then this is the perfected one that we have today. But perfect, I don't know if I should use that, but this is the more up to date one, I'll say. This is the modern chart today that we have, and we got it broken down even better: domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, tribe, genus, species, right? And this is where we at. We were like right around this area, and Porter's about to get into this animal with the spinal cord, the complex, well, where is it, the complex brains and all of that. He's going to get into that, but we were stuck for over a century or more. And if we go into religion and stuff like that, yeah, this has been a long time that we were stuck in this area right here. We could not cross over until they accepted it. Like, okay, wait a minute. We're part of this group. We're included in the primates. Now we got to start placing ourselves in a different category along with animals. We're not special like that. We got to be along with these animals if we're going to understand ourselves. So now we got a family. We got the hominidae. We have the great apes, humans, chimps, no tail. This is what puts you in a category here. You just have it, no tail, large body size, complex social behaviors. You're a great ape. Okay. Tribe, hominini, hominins, humans, close extinct relatives. Bipedalism, reduced canine teeth. Porter's about to go into more of that. Genus, Homo, humans, Neanderthals, etc. Large brain, tool use, culture. Species, we're modern humans, so we're Homo Sapiens, modern humans. Complex language, symbolic thought, modern anatomy. And as we keep on going, there will be another category probably at some time, but we're probably not going to see that shit. Okay. So now let's get into some of this bullshit real quick. How the connection was made. How was the connection made between the chimp and the human being? How did this happen? Let's get to the truth of what this is, because this is going to settle some of the monkey business, right? So as you can see in the source I used earlier, if y'all can find it, y'all can go in his book and search it. There's The Descent of Man and the Origin of Species and stuff, and there's a couple of other things that he has out there that you can download. And Darwin is going to speak for himself. He has never said we came from monkeys. I pulled out most of the sources, but I kept the one that was relevant to this topic to explain it to y'all. But all of the sources relative to apes and chimpanzees and monkeys and stuff, he was just saying that there's some type of connection. He never said that we evolved from it. All right. And it would be impossible because they still exist. Remember, our ancestors, the people that we come, the beings we come from, or the species we come from, are not alive. So we can't come from a chimp because the chimp's still here. Let me go back. Hold on. All right. How the connection was made: 98% chimp and human. Chimps and humans share 98%. I don't know why it's typed like that, but 98% of our DNA is shared with one another. The chimp and the human share it. All right. However, overwhelming genetic evidence has since demonstrated that humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas are much more closely related to each other than the other orangutan. Thus, there is no genetic support for grouping the great apes together in a distinct group from humans. So there was no point. So because of this, what they found, it was like, why are we separating ourselves from the group? And that's why we still see definitions where it says humans and great apes, because there's still a split in the field of academia. This is why I tell people, go do research. Y'all act like they have this shit all wrapped up under whatever the hell they want it to be. They're still arguing about it. These are up-to-date sources. This is as recent as 2016 with them saying there's no genetic support for grouping the great apes together in a distinct group from humans. For this reason, many researchers now place all species of great ape and human within a single family, hominidae, making them all proper hominids. So this was the connection. Nothing in here. Y'all can go check hominin taxonomy and my bad, damn, I keep saying phylogeny. It's phylogeny. What in the name? Nature's education knowledge. Y'all can go look in there and see if you see anything with them saying that we come from chimpanzees. I don't know how somebody would even prove this. It doesn't even make sense once you understand the basics of what makes something a modern human. What makes a chimpanzee is like, it doesn't even make sense to say that somebody came from. But here's the conclusion: chimpanzees are not hominins. They are our closest living relatives, but fall outside the human lineage after this split from the last common ancestor. Port is going to show you that. And now we're going to get into the monkey. So this is where a monkey pops up at when we're talking about someone assuming that we come from monkeys. And this is, I'm referring to the field of academia where somebody is studying this to see what's going on in humans' history. I'm not talking about racist people outside yelling, trying to say black people need to go back to Africa and all that type of shit. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the field of academia and what they were developing at the time, what they were experimenting on, and how this even took place before we get to the other people who are trying to use this to try to say somebody comes from a monkey. We're not at that point yet. That's what happens when you are not doing proper research, right? And investigation. The term RH was originally an abbreviation of rhesus factor. It was discovered in 1937 by Carl Landsteiner and Alexander S. Weiner, who at the time believed it would be a similar antigen found in rhesus macaque red blood cells. It was subsequently discovered that the human factor is not identical to the rhesus monkey factor, but by then rhesus group and like terms were already in widespread worldwide use. Thus, notwithstanding, it is a misnomer that the term survives. Rhesus blood group system and the obsolete terms of rhesus factor, rhesus positive, and rhesus negative, all three of which actually refer specifically and only to the RHD factor and are thus misleading when unmodified. Contemporary practice is to use RH as a term of art instead of the rhesus RH group, RH factors, RHD, right? So this is where we have something with a monkey. Now, were there people who believed that this meant that we evolved from monkeys? Yeah, but were they in the field of academia? No. These people took this study, did not understand it, and then went out with their own motives and said, yeah, man, certain people come from monkeys and certain people don't. That's what they assumed. This isn't even what they were saying. And then on top of this, even if we shared that same protein with the rhesus monkey, it still wouldn't mean that we evolved from the monkey. So you see, this is pointless. The whole thing doesn't even matter. If we did share the protein, we wouldn't. It doesn't mean we evolved from monkeys, and uh, it wasn't even true that we shared the protein in the first place. So no matter which way you cut this, we don't evolve from monkeys, and the monkey still exists. Makes no sense. But let's look at a couple of things. We got like 2, 3 more slides, and we're done. I'm just about to show you what happens when you use the information improperly. Here goes this guy, Agassiz. Okay, the scientific racist in Charleston, Agassiz, and he's in the field, y'all. He has a whole department of zoology, excuse me, named after him. All right, but there's people, some good people you're going to see in our next segments. I'm going to bring some of their sources out and show you how they corrected this guy. And he's in the field at the time where other people are trying to shift over and get into using the accurate information. He's still over here acting like a dumbass. And I think recently he got sued and had to give some documents and stuff to a family that he was using when he was going on his like racist rampage, trying to make examples of a lower species, talking about black people. So it says in Charleston, Agassiz took his first steps towards publicizing his theory, a decision which would forever alter his legacy as a scientist. He declared that black people were in profound ways anatomically distinct from white people. He presented racist speculation after racist speculation, saying even that the brain of the Negro is that of the imperfect brain of a 7-month-old infant in the womb of a white. You see? So, what did we hear earlier? We heard a guy saying God did this and God did that. That becomes dangerous because when you're dealing with the God and God sent us across the seas to get the Africans and go to the Americas and dominate Asia and do all of this, and they're thinking all of this is done by God and they're special and God made them separate from us, you can't help but fuck it up because you're going in thinking that you have an answer that you have not had any evidence for. It's just your belief. So now he thinks that a black person, he thinks that the brain of a black person is equivalent to the 7-month-old infant in a white person's womb. This is not scientific at all. Here's another guy who made a mistake. So these are two brains right here. He's assuming that the brain of mathematicians, doctors, linguists, Europeans, he thinks that these people with these types of brains are going to be the superior ones, right? But then he runs into a snag. It says, but Braca was still bothered because these things are not the size that he thought they would be, right? Oh, matter of fact, it's up here. It says the brain of the great mathematician K.F. Gauss on the right, that's this one right here, proved to be something of an embarrassment since at 1492, 1,492 grams, it was only slightly larger than average. But other criteria came to the rescue. Here, E.A. Spitzka demonstrates that Gauss's brain is much more richly convoluted than that of a Papon. Okay? Whoa. All right. Now it says, but Braca was still bothered. He could get around the low values, but he couldn't raise them to unusual weights. Consequently, to clinch an unbeatable conclusion, he suggested with a touch of irony that Wagner's post-Gaussian subjects may not have been so eminent after all. It is not very probable that and these are his words verbatim all the way down here at the bottom. I know y'all probably can't see it that good, but he's about to make an excuse as to why his theory didn't fit. And this is the dangers. This is what we see people do all the time. He had his method he was using. He thought the brains are one is supposed to be way more advanced and bigger than the other one. And if you got a small brain, you can't be somebody that's intelligent. You're most likely going to be a criminal. That was your approach. But when it didn't work out, look what he said. It is not very probable that 5 men of genius should have died within 5 years at the University of Göttingen. A professional robe is not necessarily a certificate of genius. There may be, even in Göttingen, some chairs occupied by not very remarkable men. So since his approach was not substantiated by analyzing these brains, he decides to say, well, it was probably some people there who were seated in chairs that they weren't worthy of sitting in, pretty much. This is not how this works. You know, when we don't like DNA, what do we say? It's fake. And we bring up lizards and shit, right? Here goes somebody else with their motives. And this is from Born in Africa, The Quest for the Origins of Human Life. Shortly after graduating, this is Leakey. If y'all don't know who Leakey is, he, as you're about to see, he was trying to show people a nice place to look so we can get the rest of the answers we need, because niggas was stagnant for a while, just making up mythological shit. Shortly after graduating with a double first in 1926, he set out on what he grandly called the East African Archaeological Expedition to look for human fossils in Kenya. A Cambridge professor tried to dissuade him. Don't waste your time. There's nothing of significance to be found there. If you really want to spend your life studying early man, do it in Asia. But Leakey was adamant. No, he replied, I was born in East Africa and I've already found traces of early men there. Furthermore, I'm convinced that Africa, not Asia, is the cradle of human life. Okay. And then we're going to cut it there. But the rest of this, as y'all know, if you're familiar with us talking about this before, it was a gold mine. So he goes in, teams up with the Africans. They're finding shit all over the place. The Africans are telling him, look, we know where more of this shit is. Forget that shit you talking about. That's nothing. We got some more shit for your ass. All right. So this is showing you that people were rejecting using the information that we have today that supports coming out of Africa and the haplogroups and the evolution and recent migrations and all that, and where we were at different points in history and how we know we weren't here or over there and in reverse. You know what I'm saying? These things are substantiated by people who were not accepted in the field. There's another plot twist. It is accepted today, so people think that this is how this was the whole time. These are people who were not even accepted yet. These are students. These are people who are spoofs. These are people who are just binging reading and they love history. They're history buffs and anthropological things and shit. They just like, where did we come from? And they found certain things and made suggestions and didn't really have the same credentials as some of these other niggas. These people or Braca over here, they didn't have these credentials and they were still being corrected. So this is what I tell y'all. Hold on. This is the last one right here. So in my closing, this is why I tell people, anybody who doesn't believe this, get out in the field, get some type of experience under your belt. Even if you're not going to a class, go get under somebody and study, ask them questions, send out emails, write a paper. You're allowed to write a paper. I can show y'all, as you will see in other segments, there's evidence of people challenging this stuff that they were correct about and they got rejected. But later they went back and got those papers and used them. And we know some of our master teachers that went and debated and went into universities without having the credentials and still held it down. So you can do it. You just got to make sure that you're willing to walk in the truth. If you come in with some more pseudo shit, then somebody who's trying to block you by using some pseudo shit, they're going to get you out of there because they don't want you coming in messing up their cult. But if you got the truth, go in there and lay it down, even if it gets rejected. Put that shit out there in some type of professional work, because later on, just like a lot of these people I mentioned in here, they're not even alive and people say, yo, they were right. All right. So that's a little gloss over the fundamentals. And Port, you can take it away and go deeper into it. Thank you.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to my homie. That's what's up. Hey, thank you for everybody showing up. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink your screen, Mo. That way you can go ahead and do your thing. Go ahead and click that like. We're talking about evolution. That's what we're talking about. You know, how did we become human? What makes the human story? Like, where did it come from? So I'm gonna go put some of my slides up, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the science behind what makes us human. All right, and so what we know so far, right? What we know so far is there was some type of a split, right? From chimpanzees approximately 7 to 8 million years ago. We clearly understand that we do not come from chimpanzees. We do not come from monkeys, but we shared a common ancestor that we do not have the skeletal remains for. Okay. So we're just going to go over overview over the hominids, which we should have learned with most slides that lead up to us and lead up to the hallmark of what makes us human and stuff. Okay. So thank you for everybody for showing up. Okay. My next slide right here. Okay. The great split. right? The great split of humans and chimps go their separate ways, okay? You got to understand that chimpanzees kept evolving and developing after that split as well. We developed, we shared a common ancestor that shared a relationship of hanging in the savanna woodlands and the savanna forests and stuff like that. So the early candidates of the split is Sahelanthropus, if I'm pronouncing that right. Sahelanthropus chatsidensis. Sahelanthropus chatsidensis, found in Chad, right? This particular hominid goes back, I think 6 million years ago, 6 or 7 million years ago. So we have a hominid that we recovered from 6 million years ago, right? That share commonalities and similar features and stuff with a chimpanzee and a human. And whenever you look at these skulls, that's when you look at the difference and see how there is a progression of upright walking. There's a progression of how we able to walk like we do today. And that progression, that key thing that we look at is the foramen magnum. Okay, this right here is the signature of bipedalism, walking upright. Now I've talked about this several times, but I just want to kind of hone that in. All right, just hone that in. Okay, the foramen magnum, like what the hell is that? But we'll talk about that a little later. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the slide. Next slide. Okay, so this is Sahelanthropus. Okay, this is Sahelanthropus chatsidensis, found in Chad. Okay, this is the oldest common ancestor that we found. Okay, found in Africa. As a matter of fact, all of the oldest skeleton remains of hominids are found only in Africa. Africa has the oldest. So you would look in Africa, just like Leakey did when he was telling all of his colleagues. Okay, so the first steps of early bipedalism, the key fossils is Orion. Orion was walking around on Earth about 6 million years ago, and Ardipithecus ramidus about 4.4 million years ago. Now, this particular hominid, right, was mixed climbing and walking adaptations. It didn't fully hang in a tree all day, right, like monkeys do and chimpanzees and stuff like that do. This particular hominid on occasion came down. It had upright posture, right? Now that upright posture evolved before we was able to use stone tools. Okay, so that's how far back bipedalism goes. It goes back to at least 6 or 7 million years ago, because we can find evidence of that located under the base of the skull, the foramen magnum, that we're going to talk about right here. So the split happened around 7 or 8 million years ago, where that chimpanzee split. Now, the hole that's up under the skull is the foramen magnum that I be stressing about all the time. This is separating the difference between us walking upright and chimpanzees walking on all fours and climbing in trees. We don't do that. We are the only species of our kind that walk upright. We walk, we run for long periods of time. We the only species that does that. This just didn't happen out of nowhere. After the split, the foramen magnum progressed and moved over time. That little hole that holds the spinal column up, and it gives you upright posture, right? If you connect the spinal cord to the chimpanzee, where that hole is, they can't walk upright. It's impossible for them to do that based on that foramen magnum location, right? Now, this is from anthropologist Thomas Prang, and they're talking about bipedalism and what this meant for humans and stuff, right? It says the human body has been dramatically modified by evolutionary processes over the last several million years in ways that happen to us better walkers and runners, right? This evolution over time, these modifications made us better walkers and runners. It says much of this change is evident in the foot, the human foot, which has evolved to be a propulsive organ with a big toe and capable of ape-like grasping and a spring-like energy-saving arch that runs from front to back. This right here is another key feature in our evolution that humans share that separated us between the chimpanzees. We were able to walk upright. We were able to use that big toe to move forward. That's an evolutionary change that happened way back then. Didn't just happen for nowhere. This right here, you see on the left side, you're going to look at a human foot and compared to a chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, and gibbon. And you see right here over time that toe moved. Okay, there wasn't no humans back around 7, 8, 11, 25 million years ago, right? But over time, something happened in the environment that made us transition from the forest and the trees to upright walking. There's something that happened. And this right here tells you something definitely happened. If this didn't happen, you wouldn't have no upright walking. So this is just the image to show you different variations of what bipedalism looked like and what quadrupedalism looked like, or quadruped. Another key factor that separates us after the split is losing our fangs. The CP3 honing complex disappears. What the hell is a CP3 honing complex? Port, right? Well, a CP3 honing complex equals a sharp canine, right? Sharp canine that rubs against I think the third premolars to sharpen itself. You see this in chimps, gorillas, those types of apes, right? We don't have this. Humans don't have this, and the hominids don't either, that go back after that split. What you're looking at right now is a chimpanzee mandible and a Australopithecus mandible on your right. The CP3 homin complex is what you see on the left. That's in all chimpanzees. Okay, that's the sharp canine that rub against the premolars. These are signs of aggression that's needed in these environments. Humans are social, so we didn't need to show our teeth like that. Something happened along the way where our teeth became, our dental arcade became a little bit different than what you see on the left. We have reduced canines. Now, Australopithecus goes back 2-3 million years ago. That's the mandible on your right. So how can Lucy be a monkey if they don't have the dental anatomy of a monkey? Right? These hominids have the same dental anatomy as what we do. You can see right here, this is a dental arcade of a chimpanzee, a modern human, and a Sahelanthropus, right? And you see the U-shaped dental arcade on the upper left of a chimpanzee. And you also see the foramen magnum. The location of the foramen magnum is way in the distal occipital region, right? So this particular primate crawled, walked on fours, climbed in trees. The human in the middle, modern human that is, Oh, another thing, I'm sorry, going back to that left, on the top left, you see a diastema, right? A diastema is a space that's in between these canines. That space is closed in the humans. Right there on the upper left U-shaped arcade of the chimpanzee, you'll see that sign where it says the diastema, right? And you don't really see it as much in humans. Or Sahelanthropus, because Sahelanthropus and Ardipithecus, those are upright walking hominids. So those arcades look more human when you compare them. These are small little details in human evolution that people don't look at. They just look at the, a picture and say, oh, that's a monkey, or how we come from monkey. No, it's not necessarily true. These are evolutionary progressions over time. In the middle, the foramen magnum has progressively moved way up front to the base of the skull, right? And you have Sahelanthropus, right? Right after that split, because Sahelanthropus split, I think, between 7 and 6 million years ago. You see a hole right there, not quite in the back like the chimpanzee. So that's what you call progression. Now, Australopithecus, walking upright like a species, Australopithecus africanus. We all heard of Lucy. She was not a monkey. She clearly had upright posture. Her pelvis and her legs and her footprints. You see footprints in Leotoli that have upright walking footprints. These are upright walking hominids. They're not monkeys. Okay, they're different species of early archaic humans, right? That was walking around. Later leading up to humans. Now this is supposed to be an animation, right, of an upright walking hominid, Lucy. I can't play it for some reason, so I'm going to skip it. Okay, so I want you to see a comparison of a chimpanzee and I guess a modern day chimpanzee and a modern day human. There's differences and there's similarities too. We have a skull, hands, and feet, and all that good stuff, but the details are different. The pelvis on a chimpanzee is different than a human pelvis. It's just totally different. The hole, like I said, I'm going to keep talking about this till I can't talk about it anymore. The hole that's up under that skull, again, the foramen magnum, that's the signature hallmark of us walking upright, is in the middle of our skull. And if you look at the chimpanzee, it's right there on the distal of the occipital. So you see how the chimpanzee's hunched over? That evolutionary characteristic developed after the split. We split it from each other, from the common ancestor that Mo was talking about, right? They evolved differently for their environments. Their environments had them hunting food a little bit differently than what we had to do. We had to carry kids. How the hell are we going to carry kids and climb a tree at the same damn time? You got to walk and carry it. Look at how moms carry their kids to this day. You can't climb a tree, carry your kid at the same time. So something had to happen in that deep forest where the environment had changed. We had environmental factors. Africa was a deep forest environment once upon a time. People don't understand evolution and how climate change can happen in this world. We're experiencing climate change right now. But over millions of years, you can have a significant climate change that can sway the evolutionary process of humans. Think about that. The first tools, right? Now, think about it. We still use tools to this day. If you got a phone in your hand right now, you're using a tool. We can't even function in life without a tool. That's what makes us human as well, right? So these are other early signs of us developing our brain and using stone tools to navigate around the world that we're in. First stone tools are the Oldowan stone tools. Simple. These are simple stone tools. When you'll see it and you think it's something insignificant, but you know, you have to really study these stone tools and look at them. These stone tools go back, I think, all the way to the Australopithecus era. Simple stone tools, flakes, choppers used for cutting meat, breaking bones, right? Markers early Homo, likely Homo habilis. So about 1,000,000 years ago, you see these Oldowan stone tools all over Africa. And what does an Oldowan stone tool looks like? Well, this is what an Oldowan stone tool looks like. Well, when you look at it, you'll be like, well, damn, Port, that looks like a rock to me. No, it's not just a rock. Rocks don't form chips like that. That has to be provoked. You have to have attentions on chipping these rocks a certain way. Rock just don't break like that unless you provoke the rock to break. So the oldest stone tools will look primitive like these rocks, but there's certain details on how they were chipped and how they were used for everyday life, you know, 1, 2, 3 million years ago, going back. Now, the first brother that found these, I bet y'all didn't know that. There was a brother that found these, Lomeke, Sammy Lokorodi, if I'm pronouncing that right. My girl tried to practice with me last night. I think I got that right. But yeah, this brother right here found those Oldowan stone tools. So whether you know it or not, we got brothers in this field that's out here. I know you don't see us in images and stuff like this, but you know, he was one of the reasons why they even found the damn thing. And I just wanted to shout that brother out. Sammy Lokorodi, if I'm pronouncing that right. Okay. Yeah, rocks just don't break themselves. Another key factor is the big brains, big old brains, long legs. This right here, you see in Homo erectus. Okay, Homo erectus emerges about 1.9 million years ago. Okay, brain size a little bit bigger. And the first signs of fire use in long distance running. Actually, when you look at Homo erectus, this was one of the first hominids outside of Africa that you see. So you had more than one out of Africa event. I don't know if anybody know that or not. The first out of Africa event took place 1.9 million years ago with Homo erectus leaving out of Africa. Okay, so we find those particular fossil remains inside and outside Africa, dating back about 1.9 million years ago. That's when that was the first hominid. Now, going back to stone tools, we got the earliest stone tools like Oldowan stone tools that was a little bit primitive, and now we have a transition from Oldowan stone tool usage to Acheulean stone tool usage. Better known as like hand axes, right? Now these are more advanced. Okay, brain size was different in humans, so our thought process was evolving. We kind of was determined on what we were trying to get and accomplish. So the stone tool advances in stone tools was just crazy at that time, right? Evidence of planning and craftsmanship. We took these little rocks, right, that we was chipping and flaking, and then we actually was using our mind on what we wanted the rock to look like. And this is what you see here. Rocks just don't break themselves, right? Syndicate, shout out to my boy down there, right? I took this picture myself. at the Met Museum in New York. This is a picture of an Acheulean stone tool. I believe this stone tool is about 300,000 years old, right? That's the identifier down there. It says 6322112. I took a picture of it just to make sure. 6322212. Yeah, hand axes in the lower Paleolithic, about 300 to 100 BC. Okay, so going back at this stone tool. Okay, this ain't just a rock that just you walk across. These are deliberate flakes and chips and breaks you know, because you needed to do something with this. You know, this was a tool that you made. And these are some of the earliest signs of stone tools evolving and starting to kind of change a little bit. I'm gonna show you another. Okay, here's some another. See, they start changing and stuff, right? These are bifaces. Okay, so you see biface technology before before the natives, right? You got stone tool uses in America, right? You got the I'm losing my train of thought. You got stone, you got eastern stem wood, eastern stem points, a lot of stone tool usage in the Americas and stuff. But the early usage of the stone tools is right out of Africa, or in the Eurasia areas too, because stone tool usage was used out there as well. But these date back to about 7 to 200,000 years ago. This source is from the Metropolitan Museum in New York as well. So the dawn of us came around Homo sapiens. Okay, that's when we emerge. Okay, advanced modern brains, thinking, our facial features, symbolic thought, art. You see a lot of artwork on walls around this time period. You see a lot of drawings. You see a lot of jewelry. Matter of fact, some of the oldest jewelry is in South Africa. You have I don't have a slide for that, but some of the oldest jewelry that we have is in South Africa, 75,000 years ago. Okay, so these are associated with just thought and having, you know, a better state of consciousness and stuff before that big migration, you know, out of Africa. One thing right here. Okay, so you got Jebel Irhoud about 300,000 years ago in Morocco. We have these early archaic humans that they find there, and we have yet to find any archaic human, Homo sapien, that's older than these in the Americas. I just want to kind of put that out there in case one of you hot glue feather folks are listening. You guys are always welcome to come on in here, but we haven't found any bones, any stone tools that old in Americas. Just think about what I showed you and think about what you hear these other brothers and stuff say. Right here, it says Homo sapiens appeared in Africa. They didn't appear nowhere. They appeared in Africa approximately 200,000 years ago. It is clear that today Homo sapien is the last remaining living hominin, meaning once upon a time we lived on Earth with a bunch of hominids. Shit, it was just 40,000 years ago that we shared the planet with Neanderthals and Denisovans and other archaic humans. But we are the last of our humankind here, right? And it says, and that population have expanded into every corner of the world. We dominated the whole world. We're arrogant. We think we've been here forever by ourselves. But no, once upon a time, we shared this earth with other humans. Human life isn't just Homo sapiens, yo. We got to be some selfish motherfuckers to think that we, you know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. There's different variations of life on earth, and we're the last surviving kind. So respect yours. We only get one token in this life, y'all. So, you know, I ain't trying to go into a tyrant, but you know. But yeah, it says the debate ranges, however, as to how this situation arose and whether Homo sapiens replaced the other species as they took over territories or interbred with them. It is now known that non-Africans possess 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. Where do we get that from? Right? That was the and Denisovan. Let's not forget about them. So there was once upon a time that we, you know, shared planet with them. This is that stone tool that I was telling you about. I'm sorry, this is a stone tool out of South Africa. I mentioned the jewelry, but this is a biface, right? Look at the advanced detail in how this particular stone tool is carved versus the first one I showed you guys 2 million years ago. When those hominids were doing it, they were doing it in a primitive way, right? But over time, when the brain developed, and consciousness came in, we were able to see this before it. Like, imagine picking up a rock that don't look like this and you have to chip it several times. Like, you have to really see what this thing looked like. You have to, like, you know, you got to have a different, you know, you have to see it before you build it, kind of shit. And that's what we see here, is these brains that got us up out of Africa. It was these beautiful brains in Africa, shout out to South Africa, that was able to, you know, to harness these stone tools like this. Like, look at this. This is 71,000 years old. Not in America. And you see spear points in America. They get even better in Americas, to be honest, because that was the last little stop in the human migration period. You know? So I'm gonna remove this. And one thing I want to show you guys, I got a artifact from South Africa, right? From the school of, damn, my girl told me the name of that school. I'm gonna mess this name up. The Wits. It's like a Dutch thing, but anyway, it's in Johannesburg. That's where the university is. And what we have here is a artifact of from the Australopithecus line right here. This is the Tong Chow from South Africa. Now, there's a big story behind this hominid right here, okay? Before this hominid was found in 1920, everybody thought life originated in Europe, because you had white men, right, in Sussex, England, making up fake fossils and burying them in the ground, saying that, hey, life started in Europe. You need to look over here in Eurasia. You need to look in Asia, Eurasia, right? We lost 40 or 50 years of science because that was a fake fossil. It was fake. It wasn't even real until we found this, right? Until we found this. And what made this one so special is because of the foramen magnum. When you look behind this skull, there's a hole that's under the base of it. So this particular artifact, the Tong Chow, is an Australopithecus, right? It's an Australopithecus that was walking upright in Africa 2 to 3 million years ago. These aren't monkeys. These are early hominids. This is not a monkey. Again, we talked about the canine, right? Look at the canine. That's not a CP3 hominin complex. They got the same canines as an adolescent, and this is an adolescent. I think this is like a 2-3-year-old child at the time. All right, they don't have a gorilla mouth like some would say, right? They have the teeth just like we do, canines and molars just like we do. These are just the early version of what was to come, pretty much. All right. Now this particular artifact goes back, I think, 2.5 million years ago, something like that, 3.5 million years ago, right? So you had a bunch of Australopithecus walking around on Earth, okay? So there's a big difference. So whenever they found this artifact, that's when they started looking in Africa. That's when they was like, all right, well, shit, let's look in Africa, because they were astonished by this. This particular fossil changed the game, made us look deeper in Africa. Then we found Lucy. We found this one first, I believe, and then Lucy came later. Lucy came much later, but it was just certain things, certain key points in history that we need to not overlook and stuff like that. When you see skulls like this, when they show you Sahelanthropus, when they show you Australopithecus, when they show you Ardipithecus, these are not monkeys, okay? They're common ancestors. The reason why is because that foramen magnum. We all have this. We are the only ones of our kind that can walk up straight like that. Whenever you look at a chimpanzee or a gorilla or a dog or any one of those species that crawl, the hole is way the hell back here. All right. And I don't know, I can't break it down no more than that. Mo, I'm gonna bring you back up, bro. You still there, Mo? But that's it. You know, that concludes my part of it. I just wanted to show you guys. There you go. Show you guys that particular artifact and stuff and how this stuff is. So this is not everything. We can talk a little bit more. We can talk about evolution all day. This is just a tip. So I just want to bring it to you guys. But that everything changes, man. The science just don't remain the same. It's tested, it's vetted, and they build on it. Okay, so you know, Mo, you got anything, man? I'm gonna wrap this thing up quick.
Yeah, good job, man. That's pretty much it, man. Like, hey, if you disagree, you know, hopefully it's not because of your beliefs, you know, and this is to anybody, because it's not something easy to accept because of how we were introduced into what the association with a monkey was with us as human beings, right? We came in as black people. We didn't come in as humans learning about this. We like, okay, this is what they saying about us. Can you imagine that reading about the story and you even if you Native American or you black, both people had to read stories as science. This is a story from some European who's colonizing our continents, and he's telling us that, well, I was made over here and this was made over there, and that's how we got introduced to it. So we started off hearing that monkey stuff, and they come from some cursed line, and they're supposed to be under us and all of that. So it's hard to accept. You kind of want to throw all of it out, but just like I showed y'all earlier, even the pseudo. That's why I picked him out of like 18 different scientists at the time, because he was a pseudo who was also one of the top dudes, and he wasn't correct, but he was slowly making adjustments. He couldn't throw his whole religion away because you know how people got to hold on to shit. But he was in that position where you could see him crossing over into getting into the information that we're talking about today, and he had to expand it. He had to add more to it, and even when he passed away, other people had to step in and build on top of that. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can still hold on to it. It's just your personal belief. That man held on to his personal belief and whatever God he believes in. If he gets there, if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. What he left us today, we took what we could use and we got all the way up here to the information we talking about, and all of the stuff that doesn't count, he can take it and keep it in the grave. We don't need to be using it. It doesn't work, as you can see, because even still to this day, people are just talking and they want us to believe them. Except for, while on the other hand, we're up here showing you information and we're showing you more development over centuries, multiple centuries of us advancing when we start adapting to the true information, the right way of looking at it. When you look at the other side and how they're arguing, they're using the same pseudo arguments with no new information. There's no new developments with it. There's just, we're better, they're lesser, we're special, we're the chosen ones. This is our land. We won't take it. You're cursed. That's it. It's the same shit over and over and over. You follow them off the cliff. But when you have science, you get progression, you get new creations, new understandings, advancements. Some things are saving our lives, understanding our blood, how to do surgery, how your brain operates versus something else. This allows us to move forward. That other information, it just makes you feel good, bro. And we all got something in our back pocket. But when we talking about the science, we just got to stick it to the damn science. And that's all, y'all. Thank you for showing up. Peace, peace.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. I agree. I'm gonna shut it down too. Yeah, just get involved, man. Don't be deterred and stuff, because the first time you hear something like, oh, that's like when I remember when I was in school and we talked about evolution, and then somebody said, oh, they just monkeys. And then when you hear that, you like, well, damn, I don't even want to talk about it. It kind of just, it shuts you down. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. No, learn about it. Know what a foramen magnum is. Know what a CP3 hominin complex. That way you know the difference between what a chimpanzee and a gorilla and an ape is, and you can identify those variations of changes and stuff. You know, you can just see it. So I think most stepped out. But yeah, just don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated by it. You know, the science out here is 2025. We cannot be historically illiterate and scientifically illiterate at the same damn time. That's not cool. Kids are watching this, y'all. So that's all I got to say. Stay tuned for more. Shout out to the syndicate. This is just the tip. We're going to put some more videos out soon. Like I said, this is just a small part of what we're going to be doing in the future. So thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. Mo appreciate it. Thank you, Tabitha. I see you there. Shout out to everybody. The Last Outlaw, I see you up in there. Adjustment Syndicate, Suitin, Melanated Goddess. I see all y'all in here, man. Thank y'all for stopping by. I'm gonna play the outro. We ain't hear that all day, so I gotta play the outro music. Let me hit y'all with the outro, John. Let me do that. Let me do that. Peace, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. Well, damn, where is that? There it is. All right, peace for real.
Shit, that's what I'm saying. Yo, this is what I'm tired of. They talk shit on other lives, and they don't come here and deal with their problems. And they expect people to think that they are real men. You are not a real man when you go on another live to talk about a motherfucker who you got a problem with, who is live right now. Y'all ain't even making no fucking sense. And y'all on the other live talking about, oh, yeah, y'all big and blah, Shut the fuck up. I put in the comment, I said, nigga, you over here crying, nigga. I said, the live is on right now, motherfucker. Stop crying over here and bring your pussy ass over here. But they ain't gonna do that shit. No, they ain't gonna do that. I'm the person that'll talk about this shit, because I see this shit, and that shit pisses me off. Because when we see these motherfuckers, we got beef with them, we pull up on the fucking panel. Y'all motherfuckers pussy as hell to pull up on this panel. Y'all talk about the syndicate and the push, and y'all scared to come here because y'all know it's real to fuck over here. Fuck is you talking about? Y'all running the other lives and try to play Big Bang Boom with all these other creators. Talk. Oh yeah, I wasn't. No, you wasn't in no fucking live talking shit. Come here now and talk your shit. Fuck is y'all wrong with y'all? Pussy ass motherfuckers, kitty cat ass motherfuckers. Cotton candy ass motherfucker, fucking bounty ass motherfucker, fucking what you call that fabric softener ass motherfucker.
Charmin Ultra, nigga. I'm ready. Where this nigga
at? If y'all can't come here and talk shit about what you got to feel about the syndicate, anytime y'all go on another live and y'all talk shit and we ain't around, y'all niggas is pussy ass motherfucker. And I want y'all to know that deep down inside. Kitty cat ass motherfuckers, meow ass motherfuckers. Cause y'all stay talking shit, and when this live is up, y'all pass the live, or y'all stay on the outside looking in like y'all doing now. Y'all bitch ass motherfuckers.
Until your fingers slip.
Until your fingers slip, and then you pop in the live and you pop back out your bitch ass. Your popcorn ass motherfuckers. I've been watching you motherfuckers for you pussy. You watching niggas for you never hopped in, nigga. And now you wait till you get on a panel where you feel safe. They love to go on panels where they can feel safe to talk. They don't like them panels where they might be up there by themselves. We stay going in live by our goddamn self. I'm scared to come to this live because y'all know y'all information gonna get crushed. If you know your shit real, come here every day and deal with your shit. Stop talking about us on some other side, bitch ass niggas. Y'all talk about the syndicate, y'all talk about the push. Y'all don't even know who's who. Y'all don't know who pan, who not pan. Y'all call everybody pan. Y'all don't know shit because y'all scared to come over here and find out the real shit. Stay over here talking y'all shit in other people live. We pull up in all y'all lives and pop our shit. As soon as y'all call on it, y'all motherfuckers like to go to other lives and talk shit about us and scared to come here and deal with your shit.